Hello, hello, hello. This is Heart to Heart Women Conversations, powered by Ratanda Christian Fellowship with me, Pastor Mokoena. Today we speak grieving and healing with Mrs Irene Mokoena. Dumela aus Irene le kae? Muruti, that was so formal. You're calling me out. Hey, that was so formal. Today we speak grieving and healing. Speak the loss of your husband. So we're just gonna shoot straight to it. But before we get straight to it, who are you? Where are you from?
Sure. Greetings, Ruth, in the mighty name of Jesus. Sure. My name is Irene Mokoena. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I was once a wife to a loving husband. Where I am now, I'm now where God chose me to be. Mm-hmm. I'm placed where God feels now it's the right time for me to be here. If you're asking me where I am now, I'm gonna tell you I'm where grace has taken me. If you're asking me where am I now, I'm gonna tell you I don't know where I am, but I'm in a season of grace, and it's where God wants me to be, and I'm content in it.
You're content with it. You lost your husband because you just said you were once a wife to a loving husband. True. So I want you to take us through that. What happened to your husband the day you find out that he is no more?
Sure. I know it's one memory that one really does not like to indulge in, but it's also a day that I'm gonna have to carry for the rest of my life. Because see, the sad thing, Maruta, about grieving is that you take it with you to the day you die. Do you understand? There is no fact that it will get better, or there is no fact that it will pass. Yeah. It's something that you carry with you forever. Yeah. To answer your question, I remember the last time we spoke, I said, God puts people at the right time when He knows you're gonna need help. I remember on the day that I had found out that my husband passed away, I was with my little sister. I had went to town. I remember he used to do everything. Now we're talking about me having to step in and start doing things that he used to do as a man of the house. And I remember the day, it was the 15th of Jan, and he had said to me, listen, Lavi, I just got paid. I'm going to transfer you all the money, and I need you to do this and this and this and this. So much of a spoiled wife I was. I didn't know what to do because he was covering almost everything. I didn't know how to pay my rents. I didn't know how to buy groceries. He was just a hands-on father. Do you understand?
Didn't know how to do the basics.
No, imagine, my goodness. But I remember on the day, there was a phone call. Him and I had spoken. I think it was just about 4:10. He had said to me, ever since I've been sick, I've never asked you how you're doing. And I had said, no, Nakeshap, I'm waiting for you to come home. And then he said to me, to me, when he said that, it kind of knocked that. It had felt like he was saying his goodbyes. But again, you don't read much into it. You feel, when you have stayed with someone for so long, when something is happening, you feel it to the core of your soul, that, something is offish. And I got home. When I got home, my sister's there, and I say to my sister, something's offish. I get a call from the hospital, and I see this phone is ringing. I'm saying to my sister, no, I'm not going to answer this one. And I let it ring the first time. And then I said to my sister, my sister's like, hi, Sis Irene, we are Mawala, there's nothing like that. And the phone rings the second time, and I don't pick it up. And the third time, they say to me, hi, Mrs Mokoena, would like for you to come to the hospital. Your husband is not doing well. but don't come alone.
Yo.
So I said to my sister,
Okay. It sounds.
It's funny when they told me that, ne, Moruti, because I felt like there was some sort of a disconnection. Do you understand? I felt like something was happening right at the core of my soul. I felt like there was something tearing apart. So in waiting, one of my friends drives. Remember, a spoiled brat, couldn't even know how to drive. So my friend comes in.
That was a nice one.
I'm telling you, God placed people at the right time for you. So a friend of mine is now driving me to the hospital. We go pick up my elder sister. And in a car, we drive into the hospital, but in somewhere at the back of my mind, I feel that I've lost my husband. We're in the car and they're trying to calm me down. They're trying to play music. I get irritated. I get annoyed. But at that time, when we went to the hospital, I knew that I had lost my husband.
Yeah. And when you get there, what is the first thing they said to you? Or what is it that you remember vividly so about that day?
It's sad that trauma can actually make you forgetful. I remember this sister who was looking after my husband. Before she could tell me that my husband had passed away, she went on talking about how your husband kept on talking about you. You're such a loving husband.
That is giving you a hint in some sort.
Do you understand?
You want someone to break the news instead of...
Yes. And now I felt like I could say, just get to the point. I know that he loves me. I've lived it for 15 years.
Yeah.
But get to the point. And then he said to me, we don't know what happened. He just told us that he's so blessed to have such a beautiful, loving wife, and he can't wait to get home to you and the kids. And the next thing we know, Irene, he just fell from the chair, and that was it. I remember the only thing I said to that lady, I said, you told, when I just spoke to this person exactly 4:10. I want my husband back. Don't tell me that you tried all you can, he just fell. I don't want to hear all of that. I want my husband. I spoke to him exactly 4:10 and he was okay, and he assured me that he loves me, and we agreed that he's going to come back home. So I don't want to, at that time, the only thing I could remember was, how am I going to start doing life without him? I mean, I've known this guy for 15 years. I met this guy from when I was 21. He's basically, I didn't know how I was going to live my life without him. The only thing that crept in at that time was fear. More than anything, the only thing that crept in was fear, and the fear was for me and my sons. Because our whole world revolved around this person.
So, usually, during the week when we are preparing for the funeral, there's family members. There's everyone, the house is full, and there's everyone promising support. We will stand with you. And it does not immediately kick in that he is no more. Yes, we are preparing for the funeral, but it has not yet registered that this person is not coming back until the next week when there's no one. How was that week for you, and when did it register, if it did ever register, to say that my husband is no more and he's not coming back?
See, the thing about healing is that you have to go through the stages of denial.
Yeah.
You see, you cannot come and say, I had accepted if you had never denied it. Do you understand? Excuse me. During the week when there were so many people, I had felt like they were crowding my space.
Yeah.
And that space only belonged to me, my kids, and my husband. It partially rang a bell when the casket went down.
Partially.
Yeah, because it's partially. Because then you feel like you can say, okay, buddy, wake up, game over.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done playing this. Come, let's go home now. Yeah, you made me feel what it's like living without you. But now we're good. We've tasted it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Now I know one thing's for sure, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. So wake up. And then when they start bakwala kamup, then you realize,
Yeah, it can never be fully.
never. You have to go through the phases of being in denial, the anger. You need to blame someone.
So who were you blaming at that time?
I blamed God. This man right now that I cannot live without, this man that saved my life so much, this God I worship every day, this mighty warrior that saved me from a darkest place of my life, this man that was a provider when nobody was there, a healer that nobody could heal me, this man that I could never stop talking about the goodness of his name now is the man I resented when my husband passed away. But it took me to resent the Lord for me to love God.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
So how do you transition from resentment to now loving God? Because it cannot be a quick transition.
Oh, no.
It cannot be today I blame you and tomorrow I love you. How did you transition from that?
Look, I had to go to the deep end of it.
Yeah.
Uma siyikhuluma ngelanguage yasezulwini manje sithi kusehlane.
Yeah.
I had to go to ehlane. Do you understand? I had to be rebellious. I had to start chasing people away. I had to start feeling like I owe nobody no explanation. My life is not worth it. I even tried committing suicide. I started drinking. I found comfort in all the wrong places. So you know there's a worship song that says, such a wonderful blood that saved a wretched like me.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
It had found me in the most darkest place in my life. I went through depression. I found comfort in my alcohol. I started, mingling with other different people from different walks of life. And at that time, when you came into my life and told me that, God can save you from this, I would laugh at you. And not only that I would laugh at you, actually, I would even resent you. Because you can't come now and tell me about this God that I had served from my teenage life. The same God, which I did, got married at a younger age, was submissive, was loving, and I received the same love, was treated like a queen. The same God I served with my life every day, the same God I preached. If you know Irene, they'll tell you, Irene, the only thing it took me to go back to God.
Yeah.
It took me to resent God and hate Israel for me to go back and find healing in God.
I want you to take us through the journey of actually going back, because now there's alcohol and you're finding comfort in alcohol. What clicks and what says that no, this is not you? What was the wake up call to say that you need to go back? What was it that made you say, no, this is not me, I am going back to God?
I'm gonna say this. In that phase in my life, I've had people who were worried and they would confront me. I would had my brother is a pastor. He'd sit me down, reprimand me. My mom was. I had people that around me were worried about it, but I didn't listen to them. I emphasize this every day. We can preach the gospel of God. Doesn't matter how hard we scream, how loud we scream, how long we preach the gospel of God to people. Until our job is to preach the gospel.
And that's
it.
Yeah.
I remember the other day, I was so drunk. I got home. I drove. I don't know if my drink was spiked or what. I got home, I think it was about 2 a.m. I didn't remember how I opened the gate, how I opened the garage, how I parked the car. I woke up. The first thing in my mind was I lost my phone. I looked for the car keys. The disappointment in my mother's face when she said, no, I locked the gates for you.
So that hit home.
It clicked that, oh wow, if I make my mom feel like this, I've got my boys. Yes, they might not see it now, because obviously it happens when they're sleeping. But if my mom can feel this, I wouldn't want my kids to make me feel this way. Do you understand? And then it happened. Then my redemption happened.
And you're like,
then I figured, remember, I didn't go back to God immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. And then I said, you start by cutting off other things. Like, this is not the life I live. I don't know this life. What am I doing? What am I doing to myself? Because at that time you're trying to fit in. You just don't know who you are. So you're trying to be within alignment within yourself. And the scariest part about losing the person that you love is finding alignment within yourself. Because once your soul and your being is not aligned, you are a lost soul.
So you're saying that when you lose someone you love, you also lose partial part of you, or
a great part of you.
A great part of you.
Huge.
You need to reset.
Huge.
Because one thing that I've realized is that you obviously have a life with them, and now you need to reset and find who is Irene alone. Not who is Irene the wife, or who is Irene
the mother,
the pair. So now who is Irene
as an individual?
Yes. And now how does Irene navigate through healing?